Hello, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Generation Red, the Kettle Corn and Husker fan podcast, where we try to be sweet, but at times we get salty. I am your host, Ken.
Hello, folks. I'm your other host, Scott.
And tonight we're going to talk about the 12 people so far that have now, as of today, entered the transfer portal. Today was the day that the transfer portal closed, so they needed to shed 12 scholarships because I believe we left spring camp with 97. And now we're down to the 85 that we need. So who knows? I can't remember, Scott. Do you remember? Does the portal open again in fall after fall camp? Idea. I honestly don't remember. I think it does. So there's a chance you could lose a couple more, but I doubt it. I think we're probably going to roll with the guys we've got. But before we get into all of that, we've got some fun stuff going on with the podcast. So just so you know, you'll want to stick around to the end of the show because we have a ginormous announcement to make about the future of the podcast. It's something we didn't see coming, and it really came out of the blue. Really surprised us, but I'm sorry. I'm going to make you wait. But just as a hint, something to think about as you're watching or listening to this show in the audio form tomorrow. We're going places, and the place that we're going rhymes with Smurf fat. That's the best one I could come up with. So just think of Smurf fat and maybe you'll figure out where it is we're going. I know that was it took me a while to find that stupid picture too.
It's a good one. It looks super pregnant though.
It worked. I tried to find one that was a ping so I could like blow it up and have it actually blend with the background, but I couldn't find one. So anyway, and before we also get into the main topic tonight, we just want to remind everybody that the first ever Nebraska Podcast Awards is coming Saturday, August 19th, 2023 to the Nebraska Brewing Company in La Vista, Nebraska. I have no idea if there are any tickets available at this point. I know they had a certain cap on how many people could go. You might want to go to the nbnrpodcast.com website to find out if there are any tickets available still to the public. We're going to be there. We've already reserved our spots, and we have been nominated. It's pretty cool. We've been nominated for 3 awards. So the first one we've been nominated for is Best Video Visuals. We've worked really, really hard to make this look good for you guys. And Scott's en route to a new podcast location at this point. So for right now, he's got what he's got, but eventually he's going to be in a whole new space, and it's going to look really sweet. So and then he's going to spend a lot of time here in the studio too, which if you caught the stream last week, make sure you do if you haven't, because it really looked nice. 5 of us sitting around a table, 3 camera angles. It just came out primo. So better than I expected it would. And let's see here. The next one we've been nominated for, I'm not exactly sure why, other than the fact that I guess I'm the optimist of the group. And Scott tends to be a little more pessimistic, but Kool-Aid-aholics Anonymous. Scott, where would you put our chances at winning that one over Redcast Rob?
Snowball's chance in hell, probably. If we win it, I will
give it
quite
to him.
Literally beer keg a whole 55-gallon drum of Kool-Aid if that were the case. But
that would be kind of funny. It would be just to go, hey, Rob, look what we won. And you've got a Kool-Aid pitcher. We don't. So, but, that would be cool if you voted for us for that. But my advice, go vote for Redcast, or specifically the Go Big Redcast, because Redcast Rob actually has a Kool-Aid pitcher. He drinks red Kool-Aid on every show. The guy's nuts. I'm pretty sure he mixes it with vodka, too. So have you ever heard any of his questions? Yeah, it takes forever. So that's vodka, folks. Ask me how I know. Then, of course, we've been nominated for, I'm not sure why, of course, we've been nominated for the Comedy Award, probably because of Scott's incredibly creative ways to tell us how Iowa's corn sucks. So, yeah, we've been nominated for the Comedy Award. That would be kind of cool to win that. I think that would be kind of cool, kind of sweet. We've got a bunch of other friends that have been nominated for awards. Go check out the Husker Podcast Twitter page, because they've got some awards they've been nominated for. I believe comedy and most argumentative podcast, big shocker there, is one of the awards they've been nominated for. So anyway, voting will be available soon. I'm not sure when. I think it'll be closer to the event, probably in that June, July range when the voting links become available. And as soon as they're available to us, we will make them available to you. And we'd really love your vote, especially for best video visuals. That would really be cool. So let's move on and talk about specifically the fact of why we're here. We're here because most notably, three of the 6 scholarship quarterbacks Nebraska had on roster decided to enter the transfer portal this weekend. 2 of them for me were kind of a surprise, while one of them wasn't a surprise at all. Most especially Casey Thompson, that just kind of blew me out of the water. But as I thought about it, I kind of see why. I really do. So let's take a look at those 3 quarterbacks right out of the gate, and then we'll talk about some of the other guys that have entered the portal. First and foremost, of course, you have Casey Thompson. He had a decent 2022, considering he only played in 10 games. And he knocked out 2,400 yards passing. He averaged 240 a game. You extrapolate that out for 2 games that he missed. He's almost to 3,000 yards passing. That probably surpasses Adrian Martinez's best year. I don't recall for sure. But when you got an offensive coordinator that really hates to run the ball, it's not a surprise, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Those are kind of the raw numbers. The 56 attempts to run the football at minus 21 yards is because he took a lot of sacks.
Yeah.
And a lot of bad sacks too. So there you go. The reasons why he left. I don't know if there it is. That's what I've got on the slide, Scott. And this is kind of where I'm thinking. I'm thinking he's barely 6 foot. They list him at 6 foot. Chances are he's 5'10" and a half. That's usually the way things go. And he has to take these gargantuan drops behind those 6'9" trees standing in front of him. And it's hard for him to see over them. I have a feeling his size just wasn't going to work for the type of passing offense that I think Satterfield wants to be a little quicker, more timing, not necessarily let a whole lot of routes deep, other than after a while you get the play action going, then you can fire off something deep once in a while. But I don't think he's going to go deep near as often as Whipple like to. And he's not all that durable. And I'm pretty sure that he just wasn't quite going to fit the fact that Rhule and Company really want to run the football a little bit with the quarterback. What do you think of those?
Yeah, I think that pretty much summarizes it. I really think that the main reason is that I just don't think he fits our system, really. I really think that he could. I think he can make it work, but I think that I think Marcus Satterfield and Matt Rhule really want a little bit more mobility out of our quarterback room.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think from just that standpoint alone, I mean, it'd be nice to have him,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it kind of makes our offense less, what's the word? Dimensional. It's less dimensional, has less dimensions to it. Because I mean, he can get out of situations. Obviously, we witnessed it at the first game of the season when he did all that circus stuff with Northwestern, and then ended up getting it down the field for reception. But so he can get out of situations, but from a strictly option standpoint, and read option or even a draw, he's just not going to have the acceleration or the wheels to get to that second level easily. So I'd say that's my main reason, but I think you make good points of his size. If he's wearing cleats, he's technically 6 foot, but so is everybody else. Relative to the population that, everybody else is gaining about that inch and a half from the cleats. But and then your durability point. I mean, he's been injured quite a bit, and I mean, if he does go to Auburn, which is basically 100% prediction at this point, at least according to On3, I like On3, but
they're pretty good. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, they could be a good fit for him, but I mean, oh God, there's no step down in physicality going to the SEC defense. So, I don't know.
Well, he's going to have an SEC quality offensive line in front of him, which should help a bit. But
should.
Yeah, and I don't know. And Freeze, I think, runs kind of that spread, and he likes to throw the ball a lot. I don't know how much he's going to want to run it with his QB. I'm not sure what his offense does, but if that's where he goes, good luck. Absolutely good luck to all three of these young men as they go forward with their college careers. We're going to miss them. We're going to especially miss the class act that was Casey. He was absolutely top notch. Never heard him complain. Great kid. Played through a lot of pain. Busted up shoulder. I mean, good Lord. It was like a shorter version of Adrian Martinez, just tough as nails. So moving on. Next guy that jumped in was, of course, now my stream deck doesn't want to work. So next slide, Logan Smothers. There you go. He's played in a total of 11 games. Started, I think, 4 or 5, maybe total. Well, no, 2 or 3.
I think he only started 2 because it would have been those last 2 games. And
yeah, he started the one against Iowa in 2021. And I think he started 1 game this past year too. I don't recall for sure. But yeah, his completion percentage wasn't bad, 64.7 for a guy who doesn't really throw the ball all that well. But it's his rushing that kind of made a difference. 49 attempts for 161 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'm kind of surprised he's in the portal, other than the fact that he's a little small for running the football in the Big Ten, and moving him to a wide receiver spot. I don't know if that would ever be in the cards for him, because we've just got so many guys there now, and we just had a couple of them enter in the portal. So, yeah, that kind of sucks. I'm going to miss Logan. I like him. He was a great kid. He was such a dedicated kid to the program. In spite of all the upheaval, he just constantly always said that he was going to stick around. So there's a few reasons I've speculated on as to why he left. Number one, he's a great runner, but the size. Durability in the Big Ten is an absolute prerequisite. And when you're barely 6 foot and about 185 after 3 years in the weight training program, I don't know. I think he'd get pretty beat up trying to run that Rhule offense here. And then his passing ability, I'm not sure if it was ever going to get any better. So he's better off going somewhere that wants to run a spread option. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
So I'm going to go off the beaten path a little bit and talk about his passing ability, because, or at least like expand on that a little bit, is that it just, I'm not trying, I wouldn't overtly blame Verduzco for the lack of ability of his passing game to develop. But I mean, if you watch all of his highlights at Muscle Shoals, dude had an absolute laser of an arm. Like, yeah, he had some running highlights and those were really cool. And of course it is just highlights. So I'm only getting a, small sample size, but from what I could tell, I mean, he had good mechanics and good fundamentals when it came to his throwing ability. So I don't know what the heck happened. I don't know if it's just the increased speed and intensity of going to college, because I think he was in was it like a 5A school? So he wasn't in like the creme de la creme, but he was definitely he's definitely up there in competition. But that's just my main thought, is like, it just surprises me. Like, he's been here for 3 years, and why didn't his pass game develop? Why didn't any of our quarterbacks' pass game develop? Like, we really, like, our coaching staff really dropped the ball in this, because I love Logan Smothers. I'll just lay my cards out right now. I loved me some Logan Smothers early on in our podcasting endeavors. I was very high on him, and I thought he was going to end up taking over our offense at some point. So I was clearly wrong, but I'd say I was more wrong on the fact that our coaching staff wasn't capable of getting him to the position of starting. And if he stuck around, maybe he could have made that difference in that move, but I don't blame him for leaving. He stuck around for 3 years because he was the 2019 class, I believe. I think, was he? Yeah, no.
Yeah, it was 2019. Yep.
Because it was Martinez, then Smothers, then McCaffrey, and
no, I think Smothers was 2020. I think
McCaffrey
was 2019. Yeah, flip-flopped him. Yeah, McCaffrey was 2019. Smothers was 2020. Smothers committed early in 2019. That might be where you're confused. He committed way early in 2019. So, and stayed committed. He might have committed even toward the end of 2018. He might have been one of the first guys to commit to Frost after Martinez.
I think you're right about
McCaffrey came along. So And he could have easily backed off of his commitment once they went after McCaffrey, and he
Yeah.
didn't. He's like, nope, commitment's a commitment. So I'm kind of
Love the kid.
surprised, but I love the kid, and I hope he really catches on somewhere that's going to work well for him. Probably a decent group of five schools somewhere down in the Sun Belt is my guess is where he's going to go.
Maybe he goes to Rice, maybe he
yeah.
hangs out with old McCaffrey and throws balls to him, and that'd be funny. Yeah, I think he finds relative success in the group of 5 region. I think he could be a really good option quarterback. It'd be super cool if he went to like an option type of school, or at least a read option playbook of some sort. That'd be really cool. But
sure,
gonna miss the kid.
Yeah,
good luck,
too.
Logan.
Me too. Gonna miss him for sure. Richard Torres. This is the one that doesn't surprise me. Even though he's tall, which is what I think is what. Richard Torres. This is the one that. Wow, your audio just went nuts on you. That was weird.
Yeah,
that was.
Yeah,
weird.
I was in the waiting room for our live show, and I guess it just decided it wanted to start playing it now while my phone was locked. Good old YouTube Premium. But
gotta love YouTube. That's all right, folks. Hey, glimpse behind the curtain. Don't let that deter you from voting for us for the Video Visuals Award, please.
Has nothing to do with video.
Nope.
It's just pure
and
incompetence.
You know what?
Don't mind me.
I still think Smurf Fat's gonna want us, so it's all good. So yeah, Richard Torres is it did not surprise me at all. He's a big kid, tall enough, but I don't think he's gained a whole lot of weight since he's been here. He's still kind of a toothpick. And this is a rough and tumble Big Ten. I could see him going to a group of 5 school that likes to throw the ball a lot. Maybe he ends up somewhere like Texas Tech with Garrett McGuire's dad, because they like to run that spread down there. So I think he's ideal for something like that. And he's got a hell of an arm. That play that he made in the spring game, which didn't amount for crap, but he was going down. He was literally on one leg, falling backwards, and he slings one from the left hash mark 10 yards out of bounds. And I was like, that dude's got a hose. He's got an absolute cannon. Somebody's going to grab him, and I think he's talented. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. So as you can see, his numbers weren't great for the spring game. And why did he leave? Obviously, he's not going to be the kind of guy that's going to run. He's like Casey. He's mobile enough to get out of trouble, but it's probably not looking to run too many QB draws at 6'5", 185, right? And I don't think his game fits what they want to do on the offense. So.
Nope. Yeah, I have no input. It's just it was expected. If our quarterbacks were going to be leaving, I thought Richard Torres was going to be probably first on the chopping block, or at least first willing to go.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't surprise me. Props to him for at least sticking around for the spring game and getting himself on some film at the very least. But
sure.
Yeah, I mean, good luck, Richard.
Classic kid.
Have a good time wherever you go.
Yep, absolutely. So that resides. Boy, English. I should try it sometime. That leaves us with a really interesting question. Does Nebraska now have a depth issue at quarterback? My answer to that question is no. 1994, Nebraska won a national title with 2 scholarship quarterbacks and a 5'6", 160-pound walk-on from Wahoo, Nebraska, who happened to start in one of the biggest games of the year against Kansas State, which had a top 10 defense. So I know this isn't 1994 Nebraska. The point is we were able to make it work with 2 scholarship quarterbacks and 1 walk-on. So I don't think we're hurting at depth. I don't think we can afford to lose another one. But if you want to know what surprises me is I'm surprised Chubba Purdy didn't go in the portal. I really am. I thought he played okay in the spring game. I just didn't know if he was going to stick around. I figured if anybody was going to stick, it would be Logan Smothers, and Purdy would go into the portal because, I don't know, Logan runs the ball better. But anyway, so here you go. We've got 3 quarterbacks. You've got Jeff Sims, Chubba Purdy. You've got Heinrich Haarberg. So, Jeff Sims, do we think he's a lock to be QB1 in 2023? What do you think right out of the gate, just off the top of your head?
I mean, no. I'd say that it's more likely than not. But I think that there's always open competition. I don't necessarily see Chubba Purdy or Henrik Haarberg like just blowing the wheels off of the program and just absolutely killing it in fall camp. And at the same time, Jeff Sims just lays an absolute egg and starts throwing a bunch of picks in practice and maybe drops the ball, on the ground a couple of times. I don't know. It's obviously within the realm of possibility, but I think that there's like a 90 to 95% chance that he's our starting quarterback. I mean, he's a freak athlete. I guess he's got a good arm. It just needs a little bit of tweaking.
Looks pretty smooth.
I mean, the dude just looks like an absolute tank. He's going to be exactly what we want with this run-heavy offense. And with our offensive line still developing, I mean, he's probably the best option to get out of the pocket. I think Henrik Haarberg is a quick guy, so is Chubba Purdy, but I think that it's their second gear that's really fast, not their first gear. Right. So I'd say that Jeff Sims is probably the likely starter.
Yeah, I'm right there in the camp with you. I think he's locked it down already. Unless something crazy happens this fall and Chubba Purdy suddenly discovers the ability to read a defense. And this Tony White defense is not easy to read. Holy cow. I think Jeff Sims has got it locked down. But let's just take a look at what he did in the spring game just to kind of get an idea. 13 attempts, 9 completions, almost a 70% completion rate for 139 yards. Yep.
Nice.
139 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but he did run the ball for 21 yards on 6 attempts and scored a touchdown that way. Had one sack of 7 yards, so he had a net of 14 yards, but he did score that touchdown. That was a pretty sweet little 7-yard run. Ran right through a tackle. It was good to see. Kind of reminiscent of a little bit of Adrian back when he was a freshman. Used to run through a lot of tackles. So there you go. That's Jeff Sims' numbers. Let's take a look and ask another question. Will Purdy even push Sims at all for the starting spot in fall camp? I know I've already answered this by saying I think Sims has got it locked down, but I want to pose the question to you. What do you think are the chances of Purdy, since he stuck around and he didn't enter the portal? Apparently they like him, and apparently he likes what they're going to do here on offense. What do you think of his shot at pushing Sims for the job?
It's just the exact inverse of my thoughts on Jeff Sims. It's not likely, but it's possible. There's an infinite world of possibilities, injuries, and mental health, or just overall like confidence or whatever. Maybe he just catches a fire and just takes over fall camp. I don't know. But I just don't find it all that likely. It's not very likely, like a 5 to 10% chance maybe. But I think that what I would want to see from him more than anything is just to develop to a point where he can be a reliable and not that far of a drop off of a second string. That's what I hope from him. And I could just say that just across the board, just about the quarterback room, is the fact that we need a guy who can sub out for Jeff Sims and not absolutely suck the wind out of the stadium, like we've seen for the last 4 or 5 years. And it just seems to be us too. I mean, we've played so many teams in the Big Ten where they have their second stringer or third stringer in there. Like, what was his name? Skorowski or what was his name?
Skoronsky or something for
No, Skoronsky was that offensive lineman from Northwestern. I forgot what his name. It starts with an S. He's got a weird name, and he was from Illinois
or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. He was like their third string quarterback and just blew the brakes off of Nebraska. It's like when can we get a second string that's that reliable and that capable? So that's what I'm hoping to see from Chubba Purdy or even a Henrik Haarberg. That's what I see them doing in fall camp is getting up to par to where there isn't as big of a drop off from Jeff Sims. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think Sims is probably going to lock it down now, if not very, very early in fall camp. But I wouldn't put it past Chubba to really push him. at the same time. I mean, I guess I'm being pretty wishy-washy, and I'm kind of drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit on Chuba. I know he horribly underperformed last year, but come on, when you literally don't give your backup any reps, he's getting like 10% of the reps in practice that Casey was getting, you're going to be in trouble if you have to go to Chuba against Michigan, right? So
Yeah.
I don't see this staff as a developmental staff, and apparently they like what they see in Chuba and they want to develop him. So that tells me he's going to be getting some reps, and he could give Jeff Sims a little bit of a run for his money. But when you look at his stats for the spring game or 2022, they weren't pretty.
They were not Purdy at all.
They were not Purdy whatsoever. Hey, nice pun. See, there you go with the dad jokes. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know, right?
Isn't it strange?
Isn't it though? Yeah.
Weird.
Already. Anyway. Oh my goodness. So Haarberg, do you think he gives Purdy a hard time in that backup spot? I know one thing. I like the way Haarberg runs that speed option or that read option. So I don't know. I think he gives himself a shot at really being that next guy in if he can develop his passing game a little bit. And am I weird for thinking that I thought he was a lefty coming out of high school? Did he convert? Or am I just not?
I don't know.
Somebody else that we had that was a lefty.
We'd have to check like his voting records or something. I don't know where he falls politically. But yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea. Wasn't it.
I'm weird. I thought he was a lefty in that spring game when he threw that game-winning touchdown. I don't know, but maybe he's ambidextrous. Who knows? Maybe he votes down the middle too. You never know.
Or maybe you screwed up and just flipped the image by accident or something. I don't know.
Very possible, but then it would be a 0-1. So I don't know.
True. That's true. Yeah, you're right.
Anyway.
No, I think I would look at this from like a 10,000-foot view, or like if I were to give like a meta analysis, it's like, yes, push for a backup spot. I mean, for goodness sakes, like let's get some real competition that Jeff Sims is being pushed by Purdy and Purdy's being pushed by Haarberg, and they all collectively get better for it. I mean, that's the ideal situation for any position, period. But I just feel like we don't see that at Nebraska, or at least we haven't in the better half of the last decade. So my overarching view is like, yeah, let's challenge Purdy for the backup spot. Hell, challenge Sims. Just jump, get for the starting spot. I don't care. Sure. Whatever you got to do with your arm or your running ability or your ability to read a play and your football IQ, whatever things you got to do to get better at the game from a grandiose scale, like do it. I think he can. I really think he can. I think that Haarberg is a very underrated athlete.
Sure.
Yeah, he didn't look all that great in the spring game. But what do you want? It's a spring game. Everybody's messy. It is what it is. Maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I don't know. What would I want to see? Of course, I'd want to see it. I'd want to see him challenge for a backup spot. But I guess my more pessimistic and realistic point of view is I'm just not going to believe it until I see it, which I hope I don't have to see it. I hope that there's not a reason to see Haarberg starting outside of I wouldn't want to see him starting due to injury. But yeah, I will just kind of leave it at that. Yeah, whatever. We'll see what he can do.
If you look at his stats from the spring game, they would tell you he's not going to push too hard.
Yeah,
but he could. I mean, that rushing. I mean, hey, we saw him run that one read option, and it was a big play. It was like 27 yards or whatever. Honky mentioned it in our last live stream, the Megapod that we did. And, I heard Damon Benning mention, I think it was Monday's Coffee and Cream show, that what he saw of the offense, he said they didn't show an entire section of their offense at all, other than maybe a little bit. So I'm thinking he might have been referring to the read option. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was referring to more tight end pass game and things like that. So, but you didn't see Sims or Purdy run a lot of read options. So I'm guessing they're probably pretty good at it, and they just didn't want to show anybody that. But Haarberg certainly held his own on it too, and then ran right into contact. So if he can figure out the passing motion, if he can figure out how to put the ball where it needs to be put, I'd say he could push Purdy pretty hard, because Purdy wasn't scaring anybody last year for certain.
Yep.
So let's take a look at the rest of the guys that have entered the portal. Now, this slide was produced, folks, approximately an hour before we actually got in the studio here, and then some news broke that a couple more guys have entered the portal, namely A.J. Allen from the running back room has entered the transfer portal, along with, was it
Jaleel Martin?
Jaleel Martin. I keep thinking it's Jamari Butler, but it's not. It's yes. Jaleel Martin. So Martin's a linebacker?
Is linebacker? Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. So you got it's kind of a bummer. Kind of a bummer to lose A.J. Allen, because I thought he was a heck of a talent. But
Jaleel Martin was a wide receiver. I was
wide
way
receiver.
Off.
Okay. So,
well, yeah, I got that mixed up. Whatever.
Well, we maybe he left because they wanted to switch him to linebacker, and we just knew about that ahead of time. I don't know. But yep, there you go. Sims and Purdy are both throw and run, and Haarberg is run throw. You're absolutely right, and that was kind of the issue with I think Logan too. So, I hate losing A.J. Allen, and I think Andy hates it as well. So that sucks. It does. But if he and E.J. Barthel, his head coach or his running backs coach, wasn't vibing and something wasn't working for him, I'd rather see a guy leave than be a cancer in a locker room. So not saying that was going on, but you never know. Everybody has their reasons. You can't necessarily put it completely on the coaching staff. I would say the fact that Gabe Ervin had gotten so much play over the spring, it maybe didn't sit with AJ very well. And I think Rhule's one of those guys that loves to send messages to his players through the media. And I think he was sending a lot of messages to guys like AJ. Hey, Gabe's in it. You need to get in it too. So, but yeah, there's your guys that are going. I don't even know who Mike Pauley at quarterback is, but damn it, I would not want to run into him in a back alley. He looks like
those crazy eyes.
He's got the crazy eyes. I just visited, what's his name from Breaking Bad eyes. You never know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think the only thing that I just realized now, we might not still be in that transfer, or we might still be over that that scholarship limit, because I don't think Mikey Pauley got a scholarship. He's probably a walk-on.
Probably a walk-on, yeah.
Yeah. So we might see as we're speaking right now, I guess I could refresh the page and see if there's anybody else. Nope. Nobody. Oh, nope. Okay, nobody else.
So at this point, if Mikey Pauley was on scholarship, I thought he was a transfer for some reason from somewhere else.
I don't even recognize his name.
At this point, we've got 12 people that went into the portal, which gets us from 97 down to 85 scholarships. If Pauley was a scholarship quarterback, I don't know. I'll have to look that up later. So if somebody in the comments happens to know if Mikey Pauley was a scholarship player, then we know we're down to 85 scholarships. That would be really cool. Post that in the comment. We'll throw it up on the screen. Anyway, there you go. There's your guys that are in the transfer portal. But I'm telling you what, even with A.J. Allen gone, I like this stable of running backs that we've got. Emmett's the man. He was the man in Minnesota, in the state of Minnesota 2 years ago. I was happy when we landed him. He was Mr. Football in Minnesota. I'm surprised even Minnesota didn't recruit him. And PJ Flex loves him some running backs. So
I don't know what that was about.
Anthony Grant's back. Ramir Johnson's back. Obviously, Gabe Ervin. I could see some. I don't know. I could see some diamond formation back in the day. Okay, Andy, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes.
So there's got to be somebody else that's either going to be, either we're going to have to hear some news in the future that somebody's getting pulled off of athletic scholarship and put on academic scholarship so that they get down to the 85. Because at this point, we're not quite to 85 yet. But one guy could just take his academic scholarship and move on and stay in school, but he just wouldn't play football, and that would free up one. So there you go. Oh man.
Yeah, no, that diamond formation, you just brought that up. Yeah, I think well, you say it because you talked to me about it. So reiterate what the what is it, the ideal situation that we would have with Sims and some running back standing behind him that Honky had talked about with us. Was it last weekend?
Yeah, we kind of talked about it a little bit during our megapod. It just the whole idea that you've got, number one, a quarterback that can take it on quarterback draw, and then you've got two guys flanking him with speed like Emmett Johnson and Gabe Ervin, and then you've got Anthony Grant behind him, who also is not afraid to run between the tackles and run some people over. You've just got a myriad of things you can run out of that a defense has to worry about. For example, we used that diamond formation on one of those scoring plays against Ohio State in 2011. I remember it absolutely clearly. Taylor fakes it to whoever and throws it over the top to Quincy Enunwa, who was one of only two wide receivers out in a pattern, other than another dude that was running right down the right sideline, wide open. Nobody went with him, and he motioned out, ran a wheel route out of that diamond formation. That was what was his name? He ended up at TCU. He transferred out the next year. Anyway, he was like a 4-star recruit that Amir Abdullah beat out. He was still pissed about it, so he ended up leaving. David Green or something, Aaron Green. It was Aaron Green.
Oh, it was Aaron Green?
He was wide open, and he's doing this, going down the sideline. Taylor, throw it here. Nobody's near me. And Taylor throws it to a guy who's like covered really well, and he had to throw him clear out of the back of the end zone to complete the pass. So, so yeah, that's it. It was I could just see, and like we've talked about, Rhule's a junkie. He loves his film. Like I said, he watched 500 different videos of the tunnel walk, so you get an idea of what that's about. He's gone back and watched all kinds of games. I have no doubt he's seen that formation. So who knows? We may see it, we may not. But I could certainly see a lot of situations where you've got at least two of those guys on the field, like a Ramir and Gabe Ervin or Anthony Grant, and a Ramir can motion out of the backfield into the slot, motion into the backfield from the slot. I mean, Janaran Bonner running at fullback. I'm excited to see what some of these guys can do. So,
me as well. Okay, so, my dog is barking at me. Apparently, she's mad that I locked her out of the room. I'll be right back.
Uh-oh. Oreo is a rather elderly young gal who is rather persnickety in her old age. And she decided that Scott was her human right from the day we got her when she was just a few weeks old. And she doesn't get her way. She doesn't get to be either in the room or put out of the room. She will let you know. So,
yep.
So, oh yes, Moonbot. That's a good point. Ives is the running back. I think ends up shining in a couple of years that Rhule brought in. He's got that Maurice Washington quality about him: tall, skinny, and fast as lightning. So you could very well be correct. Andy, I got that at Shields in Lincoln. So it's pretty cool, pretty nice. I've got another towel in the bag that I actually clean stuff with, because I'll be danged if I'm going to grass stain that Husker towel at $35. So, but it looks good. That's all that matters. Hey, I can't play golf worth crap, but by God, I look good while I'm out there. It's kind of like podcasting. We're really kind of figuring out how to do this thing, but we've always tried to look and sound good while we do it. So,
yep.
That pretty much wraps up what we wanted to talk about in the main topics. So I suppose, Scott, somebody in the comments figured it out right from the beginning of the show, because obviously Smurf fat was not the best way to try to hide where we're going. Do you want to let everybody know what we're doing here in the very, very near future?
Well, first I want to just say thanks to Honky with the Go Big Red cast.
Yes, sir.
He's been an absolute cornerstone to our podcasting endeavors. Right from the jump, my dad was in correspondence with Honky, kind of helping him out, and Honky helping him out, and just kind of a nice reciprocal relationship of podcasting conversation. And then Honky reached out to the vice president of Hurrdat Media and got him in contact with us. And we are now officially a part of Hurrdat Media. Contract is signed. We are.
Well, it's not signed yet.
Oh,
it will be
I thought you
signed
had
as soon as
signed
it comes in the mail. He said I had asked
Ah.
him if it was okay if we announced tonight, even if we hadn't signed yet, and he checked with his people, and his people okayed it. So as soon as we get the contract, yeah, it will absolutely be signed. And actually, it was the inverse too, as far as how the contact was made. The vice president of Hurrdat actually reached out to Honky because he caught our live stream with him last weekend and asked him, did he think we would be a good fit to the network? And Honky said,
Really?
yep. And Honky said, absolutely,
Huh.
they would be a great fit. Not only because we have great content, but because we're two really good dudes. And he said he thought that my abilities and our abilities with StreamYard, audio and video, and all the things that we have learned how to do through this endeavor would be a help to Hurrdat Media. Because my understanding is, according to Dave from the Go Big Redcast, we were the first ones to ever live stream using StreamYard, as far as we know, amongst anybody and everybody associated with Hurrdat. I happened to mention it to Honky and encouraged him to check it out because they were trying to use Zoom and it was really glitchy. So he checked into it, and then I think he told out I think he told him oh God, where was I going with it? I just saw that comment come up.
Sorry.
Sorry, Moonbot. You just
shoot.
totally
And
threw
I
me
just
off.
punched my dog in the face, stretching. This is a series of unfortunate events. Oh God, I'm sorry.
According to Dave, we kind of started the StreamYard stream
Trend.
for example, for everybody. So yeah, if Hale Varsity and those guys decided to use StreamYard, because we do, you owe me one, Chris. Come on, Schmitty. But anyway,
Yes.
I could not be more stoked about this. When I got the message from Honky that said that he was going to put us in contact with Chris because Chris had reached out, I had to read the message 3 or 4 times. Then I had to put my glasses on so I could make sure that I actually read what I read. And yeah, we're just completely thrilled. We're still a really small show, but apparently there's some value. And Chris has told me several times that we have a really good content, and he's really looking forward to having us on the team. So
that's amazing.
Thanks, Honky. Thank you.
And I just want
to
to say, like, even though we're still a pretty small podcast, the amount of progress that we've made just in the last year has been astounding. Guest spots, and then when we used to live stream, we'd live stream and we would maybe get one viewer, but it seemed more like a bot viewer, not an actual human being. And now we sit pretty comfortably at, anywhere from 3 to 10 guys, with our stream, of course, with the Go Big Red cast, and Andrew with Big Red and More, and Brian Knutson with the Husker Army. Of course, you've got all these culminating media personnel, or not media personnel, but podcasters. But on our own, we're able to generate around 4 to 5 times as much as we were doing last year. So I'm very proud of that. And then, I'm just really excited we're Husker fans. Like, me and my dad, we've been Husker fans. At least I've been a Husker fan for all of my life, thanks to my dad. And Dad's been a Husker fan for longer than I've been alive. So collectively, we have a nice baby boomers worth of time being Husker fans, and this is just so fun. This is just an absolute blast. Getting to meet tons of Husker fans. I'm really excited for this podcast award show because I'm going to get to meet even more people. I'm a fanboy. I am especially excited to meet Corn Crazed. I'm really excited to meet him. I really hope
Connor's good people.
Yes. So, and then I just wanted to say one last thing. Moonbot, thank you so much for joining this stream. Moonbot7. I actually remember you. You probably don't remember me. I've seen you in Husker comments a lot, And
Yep.
you actually roasted the crap out of me a couple years ago because I made some really bold predictions about Scott Frost early in his tenure that, oh, we'll be in a national championship in like 4 or 5 years. Don't you worry about it, buddy. Because I was a huge Kool-Aid drinker at the beginning of the Frost era. And
yeah, you only drank it
so-
because I mixed it, so I got you.
But yeah, I remember getting into an argument with you on YouTube about that a long time ago. And then I remember, like, it was like about 6 months ago, somebody commented back on our post and said this did not age well at all, because I had this timeline of how things were going to progress, and it was absolutely wrong. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there for you, Moon. I just saw your name pop. I was like, oh, I know that guy. I remember him. I've got a weird memory. I can't remember anything that anybody told me in the last 24 hours, but I can remember your username.
Well, it's easy to remember a name like that. You know, it's
yeah, because I thought you were a bot. That was my thing. I thought you were a troll or something.
There's another stream I listen or watch once in a while. It's one of the YouTube channels that does reviews of microphones and things like that. And they do a Friday afternoon stream for like an hour. And there's one guy that's always in the comments, and his screen name is Bangs Naughty Bits.
That's hard to forget.
And he's never serious. It's all snark and sarcasm, and it's beautiful. But he's also extremely smart and intelligent when it comes to streaming and microphones and all that kind of stuff. So if Aiden or Dylan from the not obscure Mike's channel, was it Dark Corner Studios, happens to catch this, they probably won't thank you, because a lot of their advice has helped get us to where we're at too, as far as audio quality and microphones to buy and interfaces to use and whatnot. So there's a lot of people we have to thank for this, but mostly Chris and all the guys at Herd At Media. Thank you for taking a shot on us. We really, really appreciate it, and we hope that you enjoy what we put out, and we look forward to partnering with those guys. So with all of that said, Scott, I think we've reached kind of the end of everything we need to say tonight. So indeed. How about how do folks follow you out there on the socials?
Yes, you can follow me at Scott GENRED Pod. Oh God, I messed that up. You can follow me at Scott GENRED Pod on Twitter. That's Scott with 2 T's. The second T is in fact silent. You can follow me there. I'm getting a little bit more active with the Husker things, but not really. I'm more of a lurker on Twitter in the off season. But I do post memes. I do retweet things. So check me out. I'll be more active during the season. But yeah, just follow me on Twitter.
And to follow our show, just do a search for Generation Red on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and you will find us, or on your favorite podcast app. So subscribe to Generation Red there, and you will be able to hear the audio for this show and every stream that we do as of Monday morning or Tuesday morning if I feel like taking a day off. So this will be available at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning on your favorite podcast app. So make sure you follow us there. GenRedPod@gmail.com is our email address. GenRedPod.com is our website for all things associated with the show, including links to all of our social media. So if you want the easy way, just go to GenRedPod.com. You'll find it all there.
Yep.
Anyway, I think that pretty much wraps things up. We really appreciate you watching. My name is Ken. He's Scott. Together we're Generation Red, and we're here to remind you that there is no place like Nebraska, and our pod burns redder.
Iowa's corn sucks. The fermented pan that you forgot at the bottom of your sink that was in fact a tuna helper that may or may not have been at the bottom of the sink for around 7 to 8 days. I'm speaking from personal experience. It smelled terrible.
Why am I not surprised?
My wife and I struggled to keep up with dishes in the last week, and we finally trudged through them. And at the bottom, there's this pan, and it's just filled with water that's been fermenting all of the leftover tuna helper, and it smelled so bad. So yes, Iowa's corn sucks that specifically.
Well, once again, we appreciate you guys watching, and go Big Red.
Go Big Red.